It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts, Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Hi, hello everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we are serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. And if you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, X, Twitter, and Threads. Also, if you haven't, and you should have, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're watching us live now, or maybe you're watching us later, and you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and give us a click, and also click the bell notification. That way, you'll never miss when we're going live. Also, while you're on our YouTube channel, check out our many other episodes and behind-the-scenes looks and interviews with some of your favorite cast members of Days of Our Lives, and leave a comment. Some of you guys have been doing it. And I like that people have been going back and watching our previous interviews and episodes. So shout out to you guys. Thank you for doing that. And if you don't have time to sit and watch us live at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you need to take us on a long car ride while you're walking, hiking, pumping in the gym, or maybe you're holding on to your crying baby, you can check us out on your favorite podcast station. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Just search Dishin Days and follow us there and take us wherever you need to. And don't forget to show some love to our former co-host and my chocolate twin, Mr. James Lott Jr., who is serving up a couple of dishes of his own. Make sure you check out his recaps on Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, and General Hospital, along with some original audio dramas, because James is the only person that I know who's old enough to remember the Louisiana Purchase. You know, I got slack for calling James old.
Really? By who?
Yeah, one of the fans were like, "Do you realize that James is the age of most of the people who are watching your show, and you know you should." And I was like, first of all, James is older than all of you. All right, so it's funny. We like it. We laugh. He calls me to tell me about whatever I mentioned, and so it's our own little thing. So no, it's not gonna stop. Also, make sure you tell us your thoughts. If you are in our chat, go ahead and chat along with us, or if you're watching later, make sure you comment below, because we would love to hear what you have to say. Now, before we start our show, we have a very special guest.
Yes.
The cell block is open and she has reemerged. She currently is playing Miss Gabi Dimera. Please help us welcome our special guest to Dishin Days, Miss Cherie Jimenez. Yay!
Yay!
Okay, wait, did I say that right?
Thank you guys so much. Yeah, Cherie Jimenez.
Okay, perfect.
The debates we've had about your...
it's okay. My name has been pronounced Cherry, but Cherie Jimenez.
We went through all of those too.
All good.
Ask Dan how many times I had to say Hareld before I got it right.
Yeah, right.
It was a lot. Well, welcome to Dishin Days.
Thank you guys so much that you are here. Me. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. This is so wonderful. Like I said, I've actually been tuning in every Sunday, so it's awesome to actually be on. And it's a beautiful blessing. Thank you guys so much.
And we mentioned before, your mom's in the chat room mixing it up with the others.
Oh yes, she is. She is so excited. Yeah, my mom is my #1 fan. She's the best. So
aren't all moms our #1 fans? I mean, my mom too. She's always in here, whether she's texting me or in the chat. She is also a huge fan.
Or checking to make sure that we're not all hungover.
Well, she's checking to make sure you're not hungover.
Go moms.
Well, first of all, we have been praising you and your portrayal of
Yes.
Gabi since you've been
Mhm.
on the show. As you've probably heard us talk about, we know that it's hard stepping into a role that has been previously played by someone and coming
Mhm.
in and having to continue the journey. But this isn't your first rodeo with Miss Gabi Hernandez.
No,
Um,
it is not.
Take us back to when you originally auditioned for the
Yes.
role.
I remember it too, which is crazy.
Mm,
So now I'm 37, but I auditioned for this when I was 22. So
mm,
this is one of the first few roles that I'd say came into my life that was for a Latina character, because I am Latina, that actually was more than just the girlfriend or the friend or just the spicy, pretty Latin girl.
yeah.
So when this came into my life at the time, I was like, yes, 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 right? So funny enough, my mom actually sent me the original sides, the original email for the audition for Gabi
Oh
a
wow.
couple weeks back, or maybe like a month ago,
Oh
and
my
was like, look,
gosh.
Cherie, I found it. And within the email, I got a same day call back from Marnie. So I went in, I got called back in. I did just the general callback stuff, and then it just wasn't meant to be. So
Yeah.
what's funny is that within my 20s of pursuing this, I moved out to LA when I was 19. I'd been acting since I was 8, or just
Yeah.
within the industry. But 19 was when I decided to move out to LA and pursue it. I was like, you know what, let's just go there and see what happens.
Yeah.
And the role of Gabi is one of the ones that has stayed in the back of my mind all my life. There's like a
Mm,
handful of roles that I wish were meant to be, but just weren't.
yeah.
And now looking back in hindsight, I understand that this role wasn't meant for me at that time because at 22, I had a lot of growing up to do. I had a lot of situations in my life that would have taken away from really being able to give my all into this role,
Mm,
especially now being on the show. It's no joke. Like, you
yeah.
really gotta just like, I mean, this couldn't have come at a better time in my life. So it went away. It wasn't meant to be. And I was aware that Camila had booked it. And I don't know Camila personally, but I'm a girl's girl. And also within this industry, there's very few of us of um, Latin females that audition for a certain amount of things. So throughout the years, they call maybe like, say, 10 to 15 of us. And so I've kind of become friends with a lot of them throughout the years.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm always rooting for them. We're always rooting for each other because one of us opening a door means that we open the door for each other. You know, when you look
Mm,
at the
mm,
Latinas in this industry with Penelope Cruz and Salma Hayek and now Asa Gonzalez, there's very few of them. And so for me, it's like, okay, yes, this is more of an opportunity for the door to continue to open and for there to be more roles that are created and not just the beautiful Latin female, but like the strong Latin female who's got more of a story, who's got more depth to her. And so Gabi was always that character to me. And so I was always like, yeah, go Camila, you know, like all that stuff. And so cut to, I actually walked away from acting for a couple years because I got
oh.
pregnant. And it's the
Mhm.
first time that I stopped auditioning for a bit. And so I wanted to focus on motherhood. And also within this industry, I've been told no so much. I've had,
Yeah.
it's always been, not always, but I've had opportunities where it's been between myself and another female, and it just
Mm,
wasn't meant for me. And I also have a really good attitude with that kind of stuff. For me, it's like, if something's not meant for me, it's meant for her, and that's a beautiful thing. And what's meant for me will come. So
yeah.
I stepped away from it all, had my baby, and within the first 6 weeks of having my baby, Phoenix, a director I worked with had written me into a movie. And I wasn't ready to get back yet, but I was like, you know what? That's an honor as an actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did the movie, Maya, and I play a social worker and human trafficking survivor. So it's part of another film I did, Lost Girls. And so that was a
Wow.
beautiful experience. And I did that film, and my agents were like, are you ready to get back in yet? And I was like, no, no, no. I'm going to focus on motherhood. And, you know, like the industry will be there. It's the first time
Yeah.
I was like, I detached from the
Mhm.
industry. I would have never thought in my mind I'd be like, oh no, I'm not going to take the opportunity. Of course, I'm here, like hoping I get it. And
Yeah.
then the first audition I took after that for another movie, I thought it was like a small little thing. And I was like, you know what? I'd love to just do a self-tape. I booked that movie. It ended up being the biggest movie I've ever done. It still hasn't come out yet, but when it does, I'll let you guys know. It's called Guns N' Moses. And then that movie showed me, because I had to bring my son on set, I was breastfeeding him. So I was shooting and then breastfeeding, shooting and breastfeeding. And that showed me that I really wasn't ready to get back into the industry yet. I was grateful because they welcomed me on that set in such a beautiful way as a mother, which showed me that I do have a place in this industry. And it was a beautiful thing because I was like, okay, you're honoring me as a mother, and that's in alignment with everything that I am right now. So beautiful. But then after that movie, I was like, nope, I'm not taking anything. I'm going to focus on motherhood again. Days of Our Lives is the first audition since that movie. It was 8 months later, and it came in under an alias name. So it was Amalia, and it was like a Latin female, boss, strong, just all the things. And I was like, yes. Yeah. So I thought that they were bringing on a cousin or a family member for Camila. And I was like, oh, beautiful. Yes. They're like adding more in. I haven't auditioned for Days since Gabi, 15 plus years ago. And so I did the self-tape, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I got the call back. I met with Marnie, and I was like, all right, cool, like whatever. And then I got the screen test for the contract, and it said Gabi Hernandez. My heart dropped to my stomach. And I went, what? Because I didn't look anything up. So here I am in Texas. My husband and I had left LA 5 months prior to me booking this because of the strike. And financially, we were just not in a good situation. So his grandmother left us a house in the middle of the country. It all went to, I'm not going to curse, but it all went to, and we went with our son. And so we had a roof over, over our head, and we're there with cows off the grid. And I find out about this, and I'm like, oh my God, this is for Gabi. So I call my reps, and I'm like, you realize this is the role I auditioned for 15 years ago. And so at that moment, I Googled it, and I saw that Camila was leaving, and I was like, okay, wow, all right, and not thinking, oh, this is meant for me, but more, what a beautiful thing this is, that this would come around, and that I didn't even know that this was Gabi to begin with. I thought this was just a family member. So I come out to LA. We stay at at my son's godparents' house, and we come out here, and I do the work session with Marnie, and she's amazing. And I go to Marnie. I was like, just so you know, I auditioned for Gabi 15 years ago. And she's like, I know, I've been looking for your tape. So I didn't think that she would even remember, but I was like, oh, wow. I was like, okay. So, we're doing the work session, and it's so funny because from what I've gathered from just other cast members is that a lot of the Gabi that Camila has played is a lot of her personality. Mm-hmm. She has brought a lot of who she is into that. Yeah. I myself, I'm very, I'm from New York, so I'm a little quiet at first when you get to know me. And then over time, my personality will start to come out. And then I'm like, all the things. I start to feel more comfortable. And so it's funny because coming into this, Marnie was like, Cherie, I want the spice. I want the fire. I want this and that. She was like, you're very reserved. You're very just stoic and like calculated with your actions. I want a little bit more fire. And I was like, okay. And I have that fire in me, but it's so funny. I've done a lot of work throughout the years, I'd say now, where I used to be a little bit of I don't even know what the proper word is, but I used to be a little bit more hardcore, like a little bit of a thug. And I've done a lot of work on myself to really tone myself down and to be more just love and peace and light. And so with that, I, kind of just pushed aside a little bit of just like how kind of just I used to be. And this role has really made me go back into that and start to bring more of that out. And so, going into this screen test, I went and one of the girls that I actually know, I screen tested against, like one of the Latina girls that I'm friends with throughout the years. So that was beautiful. And like, it was so funny because I was like, hey, like whoever it's meant for, like, if it's not for me, I hope it's for you. And, I went into it nervous, excited, of course, but like just really calm, just really at peace, also very detached. going into it, I knew that I wasn't expecting anything from this. I've been told no so much that I've gotten used to that I just knew that no matter what, because I was leaving for Texas 2 days after the screen test again and going back on the farm. And I was like, no matter what, I want to go into this and I want to be proud of myself. I want to give it my all. And I want to walk away from this knowing that I gave it my all and trust that the universe has a beautiful blessing for me, no matter what it is, whether it's this or it's something else. And so that's what I did. I went in, and Brandon is absolutely wonderful. And we just connected, and I gave it my all, and I walked away so proud of myself. And that was a really beautiful feeling, especially as an actor. You know, we are our own worst critics, and we can be really hard on ourselves. And I have in the past, but it was just so beautiful to be so proud of myself and to walk away from it detached, not expecting anything. Like I didn't walk away going, oh, you know, like I think I booked this. It was more of just like, you know, like I'm just proud of myself. So I left and I went back to Texas. And then the day after I arrived, I got a call from my agents and they were like, hey, so how'd it go? You know, they like played the whole thing. And I was like, it went really well. You know, I'm really proud. It was, you know, it was just a great experience. And Marnie's so wonderful. And Brandon was lovely, all the things. And they were like, oh, okay. They were like, well, we just want to tell you, you know, we got some feedback. They were like, everybody said yes to you. And you're the one. And like, even right now, I might cry a little bit, but like, oh my God, what a beautiful moment in life to be told yes. And that, sorry. But to be told that I was the one and that all this time, like 15 years later, that this role was actually meant for me. Like, wow. And it's crazy because, you know, I am at peace with just this industry and what it is and what it can do to you and how much it can break you down. And so for this to come into my life, especially after becoming a mother, that was crazy because I used to have this fear back in the day that like, if I had a kid, that the industry wouldn't be open to me if I wasn't the lead of a show. And then when I finally let that go and I was like, no, I'm meant to be a mother. I'm going to go be a mom and the industry is going to be there. And for it to all just come full circle is such a beautiful thing. And every single day, I've been there for 8 months. I wake up every day and I give it to God and I'm so grateful. And I walk on set just so full. And everyone's been lovely. Everyone's been amazing. And I've really settled into this role now 8 months later in such a beautiful way where I am Gabi. I have truly fallen into this role and it was always meant for me. It just wasn't meant for me then. It was meant for Camila then. And she did such a beautiful job with the role. And, you know, at the end of the day, I understand that a lot of people see her as Gabi because, of course, 13 years. She created this character for what it is. And now I'm stepping into it. And her and I are two completely different people. And you guys have said it on the show. I've heard, I don't want to be a copycat. I understand the elements of Gabi that everyone wants, but also I'm a different person. And so I am just starting, and it's now, as you're watching it, you're starting to see me drop my shoulders and start to really allow myself to become more of Gabi, of the Gabi that I have created as me. And, you know, the first couple of weeks, I was nervous. Oh, my God. But, like, excited because I was thrown into the craziest storylines. And I'm like, oh, okay, wow. All right. So I'm just burning everything to the ground. Here we go.
That's what we thought, too. Like, right off the bat, we've said this about, you know, other people who like, start on the show. It's like, you know, they pick up where, you know, a character left off. But it's like, you know, at the same time, like you coming in, it's like all of a sudden it's like you're dropping the bomb on EJ and Nicole's baby.
That was my third day on set.
and having to like carry that on your shoulders to be like, okay, hello, day 3, we're doing this, and then of course, you know, the connection that Gabi and Stefan have, and you know, she's been in jail for quite some time, and then now there's the shower scene, and I was just like, they are just letting this poor girl come in and not rest. It's
we
like,
had an intimacy coordinator for that, so that was wonderful. Marnie brought that on, and Brandon, like I said, he's been so lovely. So, this is my first time ever too being romantic with anyone on camera. I got my first kiss when I was 12 in a student film that I did. That was my first kiss with a boy that I loved, because I used to be a child model as well. And I used to model with him, and I was obsessed with him. And then I found out that he was going to be the boy. And I was like, oh my God, this couldn't have been more perfect. I get my first kiss with the boy I have the biggest crush on. So stepping into this, I'm married, and he's an actor too. He's had girlfriends and wives and all the things throughout our whole relationship. I've always been like a social worker, a sorority sister, just little roles here and there. And so now stepping into romance and kissing, just like, what is the proper way to actually, because like he's got a wife and I don't want to. I was like, I know that we're not getting tongue, but like also the funny thing is going into it, they were like, well, Gabi and Stefan are passionate. Gabi and Stefan are animalistic. They can't keep their hands off each other. So it's funny going into that and being like, okay, like how do I allow myself to give in that sense, while also figuring out for the first time as an actor, as a person, like not just Gabi, like, okay, this is a new world that I'm really stepping into. And now that I've been there 8 months now I'm like, okay. I understand.
It's like bring it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay.
It's so interesting to hear you talk about the journey, especially the stuff with Marnie, because I think one of the things that we're starting to really love about you and appreciate is you brought, like other people have said in the chat too, you brought a real maturity to Gabi that fits at this point in her life. And when we know of Gabi, to come from the portrayal Camila brought to now here we are with you, there's a stillness there that I think is so earned and appreciated. And I think it's interesting that you're saying she is going to loosen up a little bit, so to speak. But I think gravitating towards that maturity, it comes across as a lot of stillness and a lot of calculating, which we know Gabi didn't really.
Yes.
So,
which is exactly.
It's so funny how that comes across, and I think it's fitting that you're the one bringing it, because it does make sense. And I think we've talked about this before, where a lot of times with recasts, they're not always properly set up to and delivered to the audience. And I think shout out to Ron and the writers. I think they really presented you in a really beautiful way. You're coming from prison. We haven't seen you in a while. You've gone through some things. These are the circumstances that we're now seeing you, a year later or a year and a half later, so to speak. And it's easier to accept you. It's easy to see you for you and appreciate for what you bring to the role. So it's interesting that I think that it's always, you always want to think, oh, Gabi, she's fiery. You're looking for the energy, but it's the opposite of that I think people are gravitating towards with your performance.
Yeah. Oh, and it's coming. Don't you worry. Let's that's what I said too. I've allowed myself to really drop and just feel more comfortable. I had so within the first 3 weeks, like I'm being put in tight dresses. I've just got off. I basically was still in postpartum after having a baby. So my husband and I, being the only ones with our kid, I was with my son every single day. And then all of a sudden I'm thrust into this amazing world of soap and days with just these tight dresses and just like all of these situations going on. And so a lot of the beginning of me really being Gabi is really just, trying to figure out how I fit into the Gabi that is now versus the Gabi that was. And so that was the interesting thing, is that I only watched a little bit of Camila's Gabi because I didn't want to copy her. Like I didn't want to go in, because then that would be me overacting. And me as an actor, I take my craft very seriously. And I don't ever want you to feel like I'm trying to imitate somebody, because even if maybe that's what you want, it's not going to come off well. You're going to be like, wow, she's a really bad actress. Like, okay, she's like trying too hard to be this. And so I respect Camila, and I understand that is a lot of who she was. And so I respect her enough to bring elements of what she made Gabi to be, but also myself and elements of myself. And so I actually ended up having a really wonderful conversation with Tamara, Ava, and out one night they had invited me to a bar to hang out after a couple weeks of being there. And she was like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And I was like, everyone's been so wonderful and so welcoming and so lovely. And And I'm really loving this. This is truly a dream role. Gabi is a dream role. I couldn't have picked a better role for my career, and especially at this time in my life, to play. Everything about Gabi is just chef's kiss. Now, with that said, coming into this, because it's a recast, there's so much expectations or there was so much expected of me that it was overwhelming, because I wanted to give what they wanted, but also I just didn't, it was just figuring it out. So Tamara had a great conversation with me, and she said, Cherie, forget everything else. What I want from you moving forward, she goes, this person who I'm talking to right now, I want you to bring your personality into this. That's what's going to make Gabi, is just let go of this person saying this and they want this and they want that. Well, they don't want this, but they want that. Instead, it's like, just leave all that. Just trust yourself and know that you are here for a reason and you were chosen as Gabi. So know that that's enough. And that for me was like a click. And I was like, yeah, okay. And that changed everything, because then from there on, I started, like I said, I started to drop my shoulders. I started to actually allow myself to move and to really live within this character. And from here on out, little by little. And I mean, what's coming is so crazy. And the writers have really done such a beautiful job of introducing me as Gabi into this. And yes, they've given me so much, but they've given me so much me, so much to be able to just like come into this and really make it my own. And so I'm really grateful for Ron and all of them. And every time I get a new script, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the things we talked about, was that coming in as a recast, it is very hard, because fans, because fans are so loyal. There is this they expect you to be just like the person that they already know about. And what we always try to encourage is that allow them to, first of all, come on screen before you say something.
Get settled.
Yeah, and let them get settled and things like that. But just give someone a chance. And I had to tell myself that many years ago. I tell this story all the time about Stacey Haiduk and how she came on as Kristen, and how I was like, who is this? I'm not sure. And then she came on, and I fell in love with her. We're good friends to this day. We dance, we chat, we always have a good time. And so when you came on, I was like, she has the foundation of it, and now she gets to add her. And now we have to realize that this Gabi that we haven't seen for quite some time, because she has been in jail, she's not going to come out as the same Gabi. This is another life experience that someone has had. So she's going to come out still with the bases, but also she's going to emerge as someone a little bit, not too far off, but maybe a little bit different, more mature, more settled into herself. And that's what you've brought to this character of Gabi. You have the foundation that we know and love, but now we get to see her in this reiteration of her. So we continue to applaud you for that, because we know it's not easy. We know the fans can be a lot, because trust me, we have
the fans are hardcore. They can be ruthless. Let me just say, but it's given me thicker skin, and at this, and first of all, I do want to address this a little bit, because bullying is not okay, and I know that it exists all over, and I think that was the hardest part about premiering and my first week, was that this is a moment that I've been waiting for my whole life. This is my first lead role, and I wanted, and I was living in such gratitude and such excitement. And then the internet, I mean, and I don't even know the extent of what's being said about me, because I'm not in those groups, but people have no problem letting me know and tagging me and messaging me how they feel. And they were mean. Like, they were so mean that like I went through like I was hurt. Like I wasn't angry of like, what the, it was more of just like, wow, that's really hurtful. However, I was warned by all the recasts on set and by a bunch of people like, look, the fans are going to be, this is just the way they are because they know who they love and their character. Like you said, they have in their mind who this person is. And all of a sudden you're stepping in, you don't look like her and this and that. But like, it was disappointing because it took a little bit away from me being able to enjoy my first week on air, because while I'm watching myself, I was getting so many messages, so many mean ones, that it really was, I was grateful to be airing and like just how beautiful this is, but also like inside I was really dealing with like, okay, this is, it's one thing somebody telling you what it's going to be. It's a whole nother thing when it happens. And it happening was really, really tough for me. I had a really difficult time with it. But as the weeks have gone on, I guess I've become a little numb to it. It's still hurtful. People really hit you with your insecurities and they can really be really mean, and it's not okay. It's not okay. Like if you feel that way, sure, but like there's no reason to go on the internet and say it, or at least don't message me and say it. Like create your own group, create your own I don't like Cherie group, and like talk about it in there. But like don't come at me, Now with that said, it is what it is. Every day I get one, they're like, I don't like you, you're ugly, I like Camila better, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I just let it be what it is. Now I've been airing for a little bit over a month, and being at work is so nice, because I'm busy. I also have a son at home. I have a husband. I have a family. So my life is full. Every so often, they still come through. But aside from all of that, what I do want to acknowledge are the ones that have given me a chance, that have shown me love. And that's what's important. And that for me was where I switched the narrative and the whole situation in my mind was, I was like, all this hate and all this judgment and all this bullying. And then I had a couple people here and there, very few, but a couple people that were showing me love. And I was like, I think that I want to change this, and I want to focus on the fact that there are people that are welcoming me, and there are people that are showing me love and giving me a chance. And so that's a beautiful thing. And so that's what I choose to really focus on and just let fill me and continue to fill me is the positive responses I've been getting. And also too, there are some things that have been said where I'm like, look, I agree with you, like I mean, I'm not, but I'm like, look, they're like, she's like too stiff. I like think that, and then they'll tag me, they'll let me know. And I was like, you know what, you're right, I am a little stiff. I like need to loosen up a little bit, but that's just me trying to figure out how to like exist within this new character. And so, all the things. But other than that, everyone that has shown me love has been super lovely. And you guys too were a big part of that. It's so funny because when I was going through that really, really tough week, and I had to check in with my mental health too. And that was a big thing for me, to really center myself and to kind of look at all the beautiful blessings in my life versus this chunk of hate and bullying and all of this that I was receiving. Kennedy, who plays Felicity on the show, her mother actually reached out to me and said, hey, Cherie, I hope you're doing well. I just want to let you know, I don't know if you know about Dishin Days, that they were talking about you on there. And I thought that you would want to know, they love you over there. And it was really positive. I'm sorry that you've been receiving so much hate, but we think you're doing great. And I was like, and that meant so much to me, because I was like, wow, thank you so much. And so then I checked in, and then that's how now Dishin Days has become part of my Sunday. I mean, I'll like have you guys in my ear, and I'll pause you because I'm with my son playing. So like when he's doing we'll like be doing Play-Doh, I'll like watch and listen, and then he'll be like, Mama, and I'm like, okay, pause, like back and forth. But you guys have been so lovely, and so thank you guys so much for giving me a chance and showing me so much love and appreciating my work too, and also the foundation, like you said, as an actor, because that coming into Gabi, when I booked this, I went on and I was like, all right, well, let's see what Gabi's been up to. Gabi Hernandez has a Wikipedia, so I made it through. Like, it was so much that I had to stop halfway because I couldn't finish because I had to do something with my son. And I was like, Oh my God, she has been through so much.
She has. She has.
But it was beautiful because I got to really get an idea of just her journey of just like what the character was when I first got the audition for it, is just moving to Salem, just happy little sweet, beautiful little thing. And then all of a sudden she's gone through so many life. Exactly. And also too, when I work with actors, it's a beautiful thing too, because I love working with different actors. So every time that I get a new scene, I get to work with somebody that I haven't. I'm like, yes. And so I always ask what the relationship is between Gabi and them. So I get to find out more through them, just the history and the relationships, which is also really nice.
And well, hold on. I just want to comment on that right there is why the true fans, and I'm gonna give you a heads up right now because I predict I'm gonna be right about this. When we get to Day of Days in November, you better get ready because I predict that the line for your autographs is going to be one of the longest. Because I know you're trying to stay in our interview, but I would encourage you after we log you off, go back and watch and look through the comments because our audience is just loving you. I am seeing so many people that I see our regulars in here. I see a couple of people who are recent add-ons. I see people I haven't seen in a really long time, new people, and they are just showering you with love. And it's because of what you just said that you did your homework. You know the history of the show. You know how important this role is to so many people, and the true fans. They see that respect that you laid on it, and they're like, "We're in. We're all in."
Absolutely. Well, speaking of Gabi's long history, we know that you took some time to do a slight review of what she's done in Salem. So we want to play a little game because we love games on Dishin Days. We want to play a little game called Thoughts On. So we are going to give you some of Gabi's infamous storylines, and you tell us your thoughts on it. All right?
Okay. All right, let's do
it. Araceli, kick us off.
So I'll start off on what were your thoughts when you read the story of how Gabi gave birth in the middle of the woods with her baby daddy's partner helping her through the delivery?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, having given birth, when it's coming, it's coming. It doesn't matter where you are. Now, that situation was a very interesting one, but I think it's so beautiful that the relationship between her baby daddy and his partner is so loving. At least now, I'm sure that they've gone through a lot. I'm not really quite sure too much on the history on that. But I would imagine that in that instance, him being there for her in that situation definitely bonded them. Like, I don't know what their situation and what their relationship was at the moment, but let's say, were they getting along or were they not?
It was complicated, but in the years since, what people have always enjoyed about the relationship is that no matter what they've been through, and there's been points where they've kind of been in and out of their daughters' lives, that Ariana has always had 3 parents, and that has stayed consistent.
Yes, and that is beautiful. I think that's a really beautiful thing that they've all been able to come together like that. And also, I mean, her being a young mom, I mean, that in itself, I can't imagine. My mom had me young, and she was a single mom, and she did everything that she could for me. And so respect, I love you, mama. But yeah, I would say in that moment, because hold on, just to go back, Will and Sunny, right?
Yep.
So Will is the baby daddy.
Yes.
Or no? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So then Sunny is the partner, correct?
Yes.
Sunny's his husband. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Yes. Well,
welcome to Salem.
Yes.
yes, exactly. So yeah, I'd say it's a pretty wild situation, but I'm glad that everything went off beautifully and that nothing happened to Ariana and that he was there for her.
Yeah.
Nice. This next one is one that will go down in history as people's favorites. This is when Gabi teamed up with Sammy and Kate to kill Nick and dump him in the river.
Oh no, I don't know about this one.
Somebody send her the scene.
Whoa,
Somebody
what?
send her the scene because the scenes were just
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I would love for somebody to send me that
fun.
scene.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I
basically-
mean, I
Oh, they
know about
will.
her trying to blow up Julie's heart, but you know,
that
because every time, sometimes on set, I'll like be doing a scene and then Janet will stop me and be like, Cherie, Gabi will kill someone. Gabi's done this. Gabi does that.
Yeah.
I'll like find out things and I'm like, okay, all right. She's like, Gabi
Yeah.
will cut someone. And I was like, all right,
Yeah.
got it. What?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So
these three women that were in each other's orbits and are kind of related, and just put them together as they're actually similar archetypes. Kate is
yeah. I know Stabby.
Is very much like Kate, and then we have Gabi, who's gone through this metamorphosis over the years, and she's.
I say, had Gabi gone through everything already at that point? Obviously, to get to the point
she
where
was
they're
much
trying
more
to
of a
take
gray
Nick.
character then. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't sweet teenage Gabi anymore. This was
No, it doesn't sound like it. I mean,
No.
Well,
she's
she was
trying
a she was the Nick. I would say at that point, if I were to say, I think that would probably have been the catalyst for Gabi.
That was Gabi's turning point.
Yeah.
that sounds like a
more of
huge
like
turning
a-
point.
Yeah.
Like a more like a Kate, like a Sammy, like this, like boss, like kind of like
Yeah.
you know, just
Because at
girl
the
power,
time,
like
it was about protecting her child.
Yeah.
And that was what it was
Like,
centered around. And when they brought that element into it, it was kind of a dime switch of, okay, Gabi can do anything if it means protecting her own.
yeah.
Yes, and that is something that I have learned too with playing Gabi, is that her family, nobody messes with her family.
Nope.
Like that is so, you know, she had to do what she had to do. So hold on. So did they kill him?
Yeah.
They
So
dumped him in a river. Oh, go ahead.
Well, what had happened was
Yeah.
I love this.
Nick tried to rape Gabi.
Blake Barris's neck.
Yeah,
Wow.
Blake, at this time, Blake Barris, who was playing Bobby and Everett during your time back then, was playing Nick Fallon. While this assault was happening, Gabi took a rock and hit Nick, and so
In self-defense.
And so at that time, they were like, "Oh my God, he's dead!" Right? So then Kate, Sammy, and Gabi took Nick and threw him in the river, thinking like, no more Nick.
Oh, so they were ready to help. They were okay. So they're ride or dies then. They're like, you know, like that's like if you call your friend and you're like, hey, no questions asked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Are
he
you
wasn't
coming?
quite dead.
No, he
Okay.
popped up.
Oh,
He popped up at
course he did.
Gabi and
The christening. I
That
think.
Ariana's christening.
oh, Ariana's christening. Yes,
Yeah.
at the christening, he popped up.
Hi, I'm
like-
not dead.
Surprise!
Yeah.
I'm alive. Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
months later, that's when Gabi, I'm sure you know, Gabi killed him, eventually killed him fully.
got it. Yes.
That was the
Which-
first time she went to prison because he was stalking her. He was obsessed with her. And legally there was not a lot she could do to extricate him from her. So
Oh no. So then she had to do what she had to do.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, the fact that he tried to rape her and she was protecting her child and then she ended up killing. Yes.
Yeah, right.
I think that she did
You're
exactly
right,
what she had to do, and that'll change someone.
Yeah.
Although that when she went to prison, is that when Gabi went to prison and got
The
beat up
first
so
time.
bad that she became infertile? Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
the first time.
that
No.
was the first time she
Yeah.
went to
First time
prison.
She went to prison.
That was the first time she went to prison.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that was crazy too. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
ignited
Poor
sort of
girl.
the Julie Gabi sort of feud tension. It sort of erupted from her killing
And
Nick.
that I know about. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're
Well-
wondering why.
Well, speaking of, you just touched on it. I wanted to know your thoughts on reading that Gabi was controlling Julie's heart.
I found out about that on set. There was something that I was doing, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, Gabi tried to blow up Julie's heart," and I was like, "What?" And it's so funny. On a side note, I actually met Susan, and I introduced myself to her, like a couple weeks back, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Cherie. I play the new Gabi," and she looked at me in all seriousness and went, "Oh," and went, "You tried to blow up my heart." I was like, "Oh, sorry," and I was like, "Yeah," and I go, "But, you know, Gabi's trying to redeem herself now and be a better person. I'm so sorry that happened." And she went, "Uh-huh." And then like she looked at me and then she smiled and she went, "It's nice to meet you." And I walked away and I was like, okay.
She was probably sizing you up because those two have physically fought before. Like,
yes.
Oh,
yeah.
They've done that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And that situation is crazy. But what is the exact reason that she did that? What didn't that have to do with Jade? Or no?
That had to do.
Or am I making that up?
No, so that had to do with Stefan when he was shot. And
yes. Okay.
His heart was donated to Julie, but the reason that she felt like she could do that to Julie was because Julie to this day still defends Nick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And does she know?
Oh, she know. Yeah, she's been told everything. She knows the full story.
Just defends him.
Yeah, she defends him because he's a Horton and because he had his own mental health issues and things like that. And everybody under the sun has tried to tell her he lost his way. He became violent.
But she didn't want to believe it.
And she didn't. She didn't want to believe it. Or she to this day believes that Gabi could have made a different choice other than killing him. But she never really witnessed just how bad Nick got.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because it sounds pretty bad. And at the end of the day, Gabi did have to do what she had to do. But yeah, that whole situation with the heart and was it an app on her phone or there was something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, that is crazy. I was like, okay, Gabi, I mean,
Was there anything that you read that you were like, oh my God?
What really got me was that she got beat up so bad in prison that she became infertile and she was never allowed to have or that she can't have another baby. Yeah. That's the one that, I mean, from reading everything, I was like, oof. I was like, that, I don't know. I mean, maybe because I'm a mother too, I can't even fathom something like that, but I would imagine that changes somebody and just because it's funny. I've done a couple of phone interviews for like different sites, and I was talking to somebody on one of the soap sites, and they were like, "So how is Gabi changed? Is Gabi still conniving and out for the Dimera? And just like the shares and all this, like is Gabi going to be a better person this time around?" And it's so funny because I can't really say too much, obviously, but I'm just like, look. Obviously, Gabi's a changed person, obviously, but really, this time around has truly changed her, and so I think that her priorities and what's important has really shifted, and also, I mean, from what I can say, I guess, is that Gabi does want to be a better person.
Yeah.
But like situations happen.
Yeah.
That, but like at the same time, I've also come to understand that Gabi rides for her family and rides for the person and the people that she loves and also her business. And so it's very much like me as a woman, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm exactly the same. I would do the same. There are certain situations that happen that I open up a script and I'm like, I don't blame her. And then there's some that I'm like, oh, Gabi, oh my God. All right, well, I guess we're doing it. And that's and then that's where I will put myself into that situation and try to find the human within that decision. And a lot of things that Gabi does that are very questionable are because she's hurt, because that's just how she's learned to deal with things. And we as humans, as people, that's just the way we are too. Sometimes we do things, everybody makes mistakes. I mean, in the soap world in Salem, things are a bit different. They're definitely, but I'd say the prison, her getting beat up so bad, that really, even still just talking about it has like, oof.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, she certainly came back from that strong because hurt people, and she got Abigail back pretty in kind for that move.
Yeah. Well, that too. Also, too, I've noticed with the female friendships or lack of, like coming into it, I was like, ooh, so who is Gabi friends with? And they were like, oh, Gabi doesn't really, and I was like, oh. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. Except for, Jada, which I absolutely love her and I love working with her. So that's been beautiful. Just our relationship. I know I can't say much, but like I will say that that's been a beautiful relationship on the show for me.
She's such a gem. She's
Yeah.
a big ball of
She
energy.
is.
We call her Ilia Cantu on here.
Ilia Cantu, I know her. Ilia Cantu, I love her.
We adore her. Now, like, so as we were talking about like relationships on the show, when you debuted, it was shortly after. Rafe is now in a coma.
I know.
How did you and Galen, kind of have a chance to really, get together and kind of bond and create that sort of brother and sister relationship that obviously Gabi and Rafe have?
Yes, we did. Yesterday. Hold on. What day of the week is it? It's Sunday. I don't know what day it is. I was just working with him the other day, and we were just talking, and we were just talking about my time here, and I love him. He's so wonderful. So something that was really beautiful about our relationship and just the way it is now, because I've gotten so close to him and I love him and he's one of my favorite people to work with, is that we have developed our own bond and we really got to know each other. So something when you run lines with another actor, when you're placed, especially with a family member, I really wanted to get to know him and he wanted to get to know me. So we actually spent a lot of time talking about our lives and got to actually know each other. So it allowed our first scene at the Brady pub to just flow because we already had this conversation prior. And by the time that we had to run lines, we probably maybe only had like 10 minutes to run lines because we spent the whole time talking. And usually when it comes to like running those lines, you want as much time as you can get because of how fast everything moves. But I thought that was more important was the relationship that we were creating outside of it. And now 8 months later, I mean, we tell each other we love each other. Like we see each other, we give each other hugs, we come over, I'm like, hey, how's it going? I ask about his family and he's absolutely wonderful. So it's a really beautiful thing to have that relationship. And also too, it's so funny because I grew up watching, I loved Passions. And I loved Days here and there. I love Passions. And I love Days for Bo and Hope. Love them. They're iconic. Yes. But I grew up watching the telenovelas. So I grew up watching Spanish TV. I didn't watch like English TV until I was a little bit older. And that was basically Jerry Springer, Sailor Moon, Tales of the Crypt, Passions, and Days. Those were like my things that I would like dabble in. And then I would wake up for Sailor Moon every single morning at 5:30 in the morning. That's way but it's so funny because when I booked it and I saw, I was like, oh my God, him and Eric, they were both in Passions. Yeah. And then Ariana Gabi's sister.
Yes, your sister.
And I loved her because at that time too, I watched all the telenovelas. So that was my thing, like I had my Dos Mujeres, Un Camino, and Luz Clarita, and Soñadoras. I had all these ones that I loved. And so I loved the soaps on the Spanish TV. But then with Passion specifically, she had the long brown hair. And so for me, that was somebody similar to me. Yeah. And so I loved her. I always thought she was just so beautiful. And I was always like hoping, I was like, oh my God, please just like end up with her. And
Ethan and Teresa.
Yes. Yeah. But
those
a new relationship, friendship that has spawned during your time is a very interesting character played by Miss Julie Dove, Miss Connie, who has entered into the lives of our Salem residents, and she was in the chat. Shout out to Julie, who has also been a longtime fan of Dishin Days and Days of Our Lives. Very happy to see her dream coming true with being on the show. But how has that been for you? Like having to interact with such a interesting character, as we
eccentric,
very eccentric
much fun. Let me just say, Julie, I love her so much. We're actually really good friends. We have lunch once or twice a month. It just kind of depends because my schedule is so crazy.
Yeah.
So we'll get together and we'll catch up on everything. She basically, I know that she had been on the show prior, but when I started, especially my third day of the conference, she was there. And so when I realized that they were going to be pairing us together, I was like, okay, cool. You know, like it's like my first day at school. I'm getting to know everybody. And so we spent a lot of time getting to know each other. And the same with her as with Galen is we spent so much time talking about our lives that we got to know each other really, really well. And it was just such a fun dynamic because she's playing such a fun, crazy, kooky character that it just allowed, like, every time that we stepped on set to, you know, and also coming into this world of the soap world and how fast it moves, you get a rehearsal and then you shoot and then you do the take and then you go. We always would check in with each other. Like I would check in with her. I was like, how, like you're good, you know, like we got this. And so it allowed for us to really just like flow with each other and just have so much fun with it and always check in and be like, so how do you feel about this? Damn, Connie's crazy. Okay, so her body count is just, you know, it's just getting high.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs,
yes, so cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But she's playing it so beautifully. And you know, it's amazing because I know that she's always been such a fan of the show too. And when I was talking to her about, you know, she's also been pursuing this the same for, you know, for the past 15 years and doing auditions and getting told no a lot. So we have a lot of that in common. And what a beautiful thing, you know, like I would tell her when like we would talk about being there. And I was like, what a beautiful thing that we're meant to be here, that like this is meant for us, that like you and your mom would watch this show and that you get the opportunity to be on a show that you grew up watching with your mother and that you get to play this like crazy out there character that and just have so much fun. And I love it so much too because it's giving Gabi like a different element versus just all the drama that's going on. Because I mean, obviously this last episode, it's about to get crazy. Connie tells, you know, Gabi that basically that Stefan slept with Ava or that he cheated. And it's so funny because I've had people be like, well, Gabi has to know. Gabi's smarter than this. But like, as you see, no, Gabi doesn't know. Gabi's actually so focused on her business right now on rebuilding Gabi Chic that she's not thinking that this like sure, she's kooky and she knows that she's out there, but she's getting it done. She's getting what she needs done. So, okay, I can go focus on this while you take care of this. And so it's just been so much fun. She's amazing and I absolutely love her. And I've had so much fun with her. And our storyline, it's so funny because prior to me airing and her storyline airing, we would send each other our countdowns and she'd be like, oh my God, like 43 days. And I was like 34 days. And I'd be like, oh my God, it's happening. And it's been really beautiful to see her work too. And her scenes with Blake were just really beautiful, you know, because she plays this crazy character that she has the moments as especially with her scenes with Blake, which I absolutely have loved. You get to really just see her kind of just not be so cuckoo, you know, because in the scenes with Remington, you know, she's like, you know, obviously, like, it's a cardboard cutout, which is so funny. One day I stepped out on set and they call you up to go do like a touch up for hair and makeup. And they were shooting, so I had to stand on the side and it's dark. And I look over and I'm like, I felt like someone was staring at me and it was a cardboard cutout. I didn't know about the cardboard cutout yet. So I turned over and I was just like, what is that? I was like, what is going on? And that's so funny because I found out that she has it and I was like, oh, you're crazy. I was like, okay. But she's been absolutely wonderful and she's become a really good friend. And I'm really proud of her. And it's been such an honor to work with her. And I'm really happy that she got this opportunity and that we got to meet each other. So shout out, Julie. I love you.
You meet the people you're supposed to meet.
Yep.
Now, of course,
and she's been a really great friend.
Now, of course, as we start to wrap things up, because honey, we'll keep you on here for the rest of the show. But we of course have to ask about building the relationship between you and Brandon / Stefan. Stepping into that, were you nervous? Was it easygoing? Like, how was it for you? Because I mean, this is the love of loves. This is the passion. This is the fire. This is Stabby, as the fans call it. How did you feel just coming in and working with him and creating that fire between you and him?
Yeah. So he's also just someone who's so lovely. Because we had our screen test together, the chemistry within the screen test, our connection, how we worked off each other, what that was, because they gave me a scene from a previous episode that had been filmed. And so it was like fire. It was like us kissing and then him calling me by a different name and telling me, I love you. And I was like, what? What do you mean you love me? So like we really just went back and forth. And by the end of it, I felt like, oh, wow. No matter what happens with this, whether I get this or not, that was amazing. Like I felt something, and I know he did, because when I booked it, he reached out to me, and he also helped me to build the foundation by giving me backstory on the relationship and what it is, and always made me feel so comfortable. And I'd say, I love working with all the actors all the time, but he's my favorite actor. He's my number one. There's something about us and our connection outside of this. It feels like I've known him forever. It feels like I've been acting with him forever. There's a knowing with him, as if like past lives or something. So it was really interesting, because every time that we got together and we'd have conversations about everything, just life in our family, we were always just on the same page. We would always just kind of flow really well together. So in turn, when we would be on set, it felt the same. I always felt so comfortable. And he also really made me feel comfortable too, because the kissing, all the intimate stuff, which I said prior to coming into this, I had never done. So I'm over here like, can I put my hand here? Can I, don't hurry. I'm not going to overstep. Like, I have a husband, you have a wife. How does this all work? But really, like I said, being on set with him, tapping into just being present with him, everything else faded and everything else disappeared. And I truly believe that he has made me a better actor. Wow. He is such an incredible actor, and he gives so much that it's allowed for me to really give as well. And with this relationship, him and Camila, with their relationship as well, and then being Gabi and Stefan, it's a little different with me and him, just because of the way that I am. So like I said, I'm much more reserved. I'm a little bit more just different. So like our interactions of us talking to each other, it's funny. I had somebody tag me and compare me to Morticia Addams, and they were like, "Oh, you guys remind me of Morticia and Gomez," and they were meaning it as an insult, but I took it as actually like a good. And I was like, "Yeah," they were like, "Ugh," and I was like, "I love that so much because I feel that too. I feel like we just had like something soft and very just like looking into his eyes. I would get lost in it as Gabi and Stefan, just really able to live within this character. And as you will see, our relationship and connection continues to grow, and it's just so beautiful. And I just feel like we bring a different element of Gabi and Stefan, of Stabby, than Camila and him did. But like still, it's still there. And I don't know if you feel it, but I know that for me, it's interesting because I felt like our chemistry and everything is always just so on. And I was like, I wonder how it's going to translate on camera. Like, you never know. But I love that relationship. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And
I mean, in that
everything
sense,
they've gone through.
In that sense, I think honestly you were luckier than Camila was, because Camila and Stefan were never supposed to be together. Gabi and Stefan, they were not. Gabi was on the canvas; she had a whole different storyline going. Stefan was in a completely different space, and Brandon was a recast at the time that they got together.
Yeah.
He had just come on the show. He was maybe like a month or two in when they decided to switch it and have him pair up with Camila, and that was quick.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah,
So
I
you
know
got
he was
ahead.
a recast. Yeah. And then, so I'm just grateful, but he's amazing. And I just love the dynamic of Stabby. And it's also a fun one to be a part of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Well, to bring this to a close, not a screeching halt, but a close. We want to just find out some more tidbits about you. So to bring this to a nice little bow, we're calling this the cherry on top, where we are going to ask you a couple of quick questions. You say the first thing that comes to mind. We just want to know some of your favorites and go-tos in life. Okay. So Araceli, you kick us off.
All right. Favorite comfort dish?
This Dominican dish that I grew up on called tres golpes. It's plantains mashed up, made into mango, with salchichas, which is like a Dominican sausage, frying cheese, el queso de freír. It's delicious.
Good.
Yeah.
So good. I have my abuela make it for me every time I go home.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'll go next. Favorite movie of Sean's?
Forever Strong.
Oh,
It's a rugby movie. It's you know, it's funny because Never Back Down, before we got together, on a side note, I had never seen any of his work.
Really?
So I didn't know. And then once we got together, every time he would go film a movie, I would watch something of his. But Forever Strong is a beautiful film, a beautiful story. It's a wonderful one.
Well, speaking of movies, your favorite movie that you can recite hands down?
My favorite movie, Step Brothers and The Godfather. I would say, I know that they're two completely, but Step Brothers, because I've watched it so much that my friend and I would quote it, hilarious. And then The Godfather, because it's such a classic and it's so badass.
Yeah.
Those are good ones.
But Step Brothers would be the one that every time, I mean, I'll watch it probably like once a year just because.
That's like me and Devil Wears Prada. I also incorporate those quotes into my everyday life.
Yeah, yeah. So good.
All right. What are you currently binging?
I don't have time half the time because of how much dialogue I'm learning. Yeah. But we just finished watching Presumed Innocent. Yes, on Apple TV.
Yes.
And a dear friend of mine who I worked with on Banshee, he is the director on it, Greg Yantes. He directed it, and it is so good. And Jake Gyllenhaal, fun fact, I actually worked with him when I was 12 years old. He played my boyfriend in a movie. Yeah, in a movie that I did at Sundance Filmmakers Lab. That'll be for a whole nother time. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, that show is so good. As a whodunit, I was literally accusing everybody every episode. I was like, it's him, it's her, it's him. It was just so well written, and the acting was just incredible. So that's
Okay. Favorite pizza place on the Lower East Side?
Okay, so my favorite pizza place was in Washington Heights when I lived there. It was off on 181st Street. I don't know the name of it. So that's my favorite pizza place in New York. But my favorite pizza place in Lower East Side would have to be Joe's Pizza. It's just classic and good and simple.
Of course.
Yes. And I love that you mentioned the Lower East Side. Yes.
Yeah.
We do our research around here. We like to be prepared.
Yes.
Okay, now who's an artist that you would see in concert multiple times? Like as soon as they announce a date near you, you're like, I'm going.
Lana Del Rey.
Oh,
that's a good choice.
She is so ethereal and beautiful, and her voice is angelic, and she is just, I mean, at least right now, that's who I'm listening to a lot. Just her voice and her music is so beautiful. Now, for like a for like a fun time, I mean, it's been so long since I've been to a concert. I feel like Coachella was like my last time I went and actually saw musical artists.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Lana Del Rey right now. I'm trying to think of somebody fun. I mean, Britney Spears back in the day when she was in her prime, that was like
Oh,
one of the most epic concerts because she's just such a great performer. That was like when I was
yeah.
like 12, I think, that I went, and I was just
Yeah.
like, yes.
Mhm.
Wait, what would that have been the Oops, I Did It Again tour?
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
I believe so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was at Jones Beach that we went to go see her. It was for a friend's birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and it was amazing.
yeah.
I remember seeing so before Beyonce, because I'm a huge Beyonce fan.
Oh, stop.
I mean,
Okay,
people.
They have in the room.
let me add on to that. Beyonce.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Beyonce. Yes.
Like you can probably.
I can't believe that didn't even come to my mind. It's because I'm listening to so much Lana Del Rey. That's why. But
Yeah,
Beyonce, talk about
yeah.
a performer and an artist. Yes.
I feel like I'm her in my everyday life, and actually, you can probably ask some of the cast members of Days about my love for Beyonce, and I'm pretty sure Eric Martzoff is the only one that could bring up a video of me doing Beyonce. That's how often I have done Beyonce.
Yes.
Um, what? Oh man, there was something on the tip of my tongue. And oh wait. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Brittany. See, I'm at that age where I go into the kitchen and don't know why I went in there, and I'm just like, I'll just go sit back down. But my mom, I filled out a raffle to win tickets to the Oops, I Did It Again tour, and I put everyone's in the family's name. I put my mom, my sister, me, everyone, and my mom was the one who actually ended up getting picked, and her name was in the local paper, and her coworker was like, "Do you know you won tickets to Britney Spears?" And so my mom calls me and is like, "Do you know about these tickets?" I was like, "You won!" I was like, "We gotta go, yeah." So she took me
Yes.
to the tour, and I remember at one point we were all sitting in our row, and at some point everyone just kind of moved away from me because I was doing full on choreography with Britney.
Yes, you
Yeah,
were. I
yeah,
love that. What a
yeah.
beautiful memory. What a beautiful
Oh,
moment in life.
so good,
And I
so
love
good.
that your mom's name got picked out and she didn't even know. She's just like, what? Why
She
is my
did.
name in the
She's like,
paper?
"Why is
What
my
is
name in the paper for Britney Spears tickets?" Because I drove to the record store and put all of our names in there. Somebody was bound to get picked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
But before we let you go, first of all, you
Mhm.
are amazing. I'm
Yes.
so glad that we had this time with you. I hope that
Thank
fans have gotten to know you more in this interview, and they seem to have. They love you, they adore you, and I hope that this feeling that they have for you moves forward as we continue seeing you and your journey with Gabi. But before we let you go, I want to know what, because you've been through so much in life, and you've been through this business for so long, and what is it? Is there a motto, or is there something that keeps you going? Something that you tell yourself, or when you need inspiration, you just go to this quote. Is there anything that continues to inspire you and push you through all of
you.
this, through all the no's, through all the yeses, through all the ups and the downs of this industry? What is that thing that keeps you going?
What a beautiful question. Um, yeah, I'd say it's a couple different things. Well, one is my self-love. So obviously everyone has seen that if somebody was like, Gabi doesn't have tattoos, but I have a heart on my chest. It's
Yeah.
my self-love heart. And it's actually when I started really working on myself and figuring out what self-love actually meant to me, aside from just a superficial self-love. I used to deal with just a lot of insecurities, and also with being in this industry and being told no a bunch really just like breaks you down. And so I started doing a lot of work within myself and reflecting on just how I could be a better person, how I could love myself more, how I could be better for those around me. And with that came uh, a lot of self-limiting beliefs that I had to work through to release, to be able to know that I'm enough and that I'm beautiful as I am, and that I have a really good heart and I treat everyone around me with kindness. My favorite quote is by Ram Dass. It is, "We are all walking each other home," which I think is such a beautiful one and such a beautiful reminder, because even though we all have different life experiences and we all go through what we go through, it's a beautiful thing to remind each other of just how important it is to be kind to one another, and how showing kindness to each other at the end of the day is us being kind to ourselves as well. And walking each other home means at the end of the day, we're all going to end up in the same place. And so we're here on this earth to love. We are here to love ourselves and to love one another. And so that's been my biggest motto and my biggest thing. And so, and also to be of service to others, to help others. That's also really helped me as well throughout all of this, is just showing kindness to others, and being kind to myself, being patient, showing myself grace, and knowing that I'm meant to be here. And every day, my big thing is I always wake up and express my gratitude. And every time I leave my dressing room too, I'm always like, bye room. I love you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you after hiatus. And every door that I open, every time I open the door, I'm walking into my blessings and walking into the life that's meant for me. And I've gone through so much that has really shaped me into who I am now. And I'm so grateful for what I've gone through, because it really has made me such a kind and loving person, to where prior, if you knew me prior, it's not that I wasn't, I was just a little like, I don't know. I was just different. I was just very different. And so we are all walking each other home, and it's a nice reminder to just show all of your fellow brothers and sisters, love and kindness, and to remember that. So yeah,
oh my
I'd
gosh,
say
I
that's
feel like
my
you and I
thing.
are soul sisters. I have my empathy heart tattoo as well. I'm sending you a link right now to an empathy place that I follow on Instagram.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So my heart is a nice reminder anytime I'm beating myself up, or like when I was dealing with all the bullies, especially at the week of just tearing me down and all the things. I remember I was going through like a emotional moment, and I was crying, and I was like, wow, this is really tough. And it's so funny because I forget I have it. And I was in the mirror, and I was like, and I took a moment and I took a deep breath, and I was like, remember, Cherie, remember you to love ourselves as we are. And we made it this far, and I deserve to be here. And all of the no's and all of the things that I've gone through, I had to go through to get to where I'm at. And I worked hard for this, and I'm gonna just give it my all and continue to give it my all, and just remain in gratitude always.
Yeah. Oh, well, we are in amazing gratitude for you and your talent and your beautiful spirit. We thank you so much for joining us today. And this has been such a pleasure, just getting to know you and chatting with you. And I hope that you know that you are doing an amazing job as Gabi. And we welcome you with open arms. And we can't wait to see you put your shoulders back and you get your stance and your walk
and drop
as
my
Gabi.
shoulders and start living and existing, and bring more of my personality into Gabi. Don't worry.
We absolutely we can't wait. We can't wait for that. So so congratulations and welcome to Salem.
Yes.
Yes, thank you guys so much. It has been an honor. I love you all, and I know I met you, Tony, but I look forward to meeting you guys as well. And yeah, I'll be seeing you around. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh,
thanks so much for joining us.
Yes,
thank you for joining
Cherie.
us. And now we have to talk about you some more.
Yeah.
We have more show to do. Yeah.
I'm gonna go play with my baby at the park.
Well, have a great time, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, love.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
Oh.
She's so sweet and
Yes.
so
Yes.
amazing.
Guys, my cheeks hurt. It's always a good interview if my cheeks hurt.
I know.
I know. It was, and I love that the fans adore her even
Yep.
more after this. Like everyone has been talking about how great this interview was. So thank you so much for that. And now
On with the show.
on with the show. What did we think about this week's episode of Days?
What happened? Hold on. Give me a second. I got to remember what happened.
All right.
Listen, I'll kick it off. I feel like this week was another prep week. It's another it's another a lot happened. This is kind of the dust settling and laying down some work for some things to come. Yeah. That's how I felt about this week. Justin, what do you think?
I think we finally got a few reveals that one we were expecting and waiting on patiently since June, and then another one that surprised us, I think. So yeah, other than that, I think for the most part it was like a decent week, but yeah, we had a couple of good things happen that were kind of like, oh, that surprised me. I didn't think they were going to go there.
Yeah, not a lot. Yeah, well, there wasn't a lot of action taken. There were a lot of fun interactions that I'll touch upon. Between siblings, between father and son, between friends, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's just kind of fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, an hour and a half into our show.
Oh my gosh.
Let's break it on that was there was a moment where I was like, we don't need to do the show. We need to do the show. We just ended there.
We make no apologies for having fun.
Nope. I mean, we make no apologies for you getting to know these amazing people.
Yes.
But we still got a job to do. So let's do it. It is now time to start Dishin Days. I think that's the closest we've ever gotten, and I think because we're all warmed up, our vocal cords are ready, and it is now time to kick off our very first storyline. Dear God, AnnaLynne has arrived. First off, can I just say, I don't care who she is or who she ends up being. There's something about her that I absolutely love. Just how grounded and settled she was as whoever she's going to be revealed to be. But I was just like, oh yeah, there's something so intriguing about her.
She's a down for anything kind of actress. Anybody who watched her in the 90210 reboot, you will see, I'm saying for anybody who didn't, she's such a down to do anything kind of an actress. Like the things that which is like you have to be for the soap world. So she's got to go in like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I've loved AnnaLynne for years. I think she's so talented. And I think that first scene, what you're talking about, Tony, this is why you hire someone like that. Someone with that much experience who's been around the block professionally and has done so many things. This is why you hire her for a scene like that to come in and sort of the fact that we didn't even get a name for her. Did we get a name?
Nothing.
And the fact that she has left that much of an impression on a few minute scene between two of the veterans of the show, that's why you hire. I guess well worth the wait. We wish it was sooner, but well worth the wait to see AnnaLynne. Yeah.
Just don't I will just nitpick a little bit here. When you give an air date for someone, make sure it's the actual first air date. I need to see their face.
No, technically it was.
See their face.
Technically, it was her first air date. She was on a call sheet. She filmed.
But didn't see her face.
Stuff. You might have saw this.
But not her face.
That was her though. I mean, it's almost like the behind the bush person or the glove person.
Yeah. Yeah.
What can you do? But they laid down a lot of interesting groundwork in the fact that she doesn't remember anything prior to. She woke up with a man named Clyde talking to her about stuff, and she's had surgery to not look like herself.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I was like, oh, y'all are just laying whatever groundwork so that we're not like, child. If that were supposed to be Abigail, when he walked in, he should have said Abigail, but instead, which I have to give Billy Flynn credit for. There was a moment, and I don't know if you guys figured this out, as she was talking and trying to figure out who she was, Chad was like staring at her in her eyes to see if like there was any sense or any inkling of this being Abigail. And I don't think we'll know what his true internal thoughts are until they get back to say, now talk about trusting girl. She was like, all right, we're out. I'm like,
I mean, not initially,
but still.
But it was probably better than what we heard she was dealing with. She was basically been cooped up in an apartment for the last, I don't know, year, essentially. Year and a half, something like that. And we know we know Clyde is evolved because they showed the picture. We know Goldman was the one who was giving her supplies and food and all that kind of stuff until she went to prison.
What?
No, I was laughing at the quote. Yeah. So we've gotten some things that are like, okay, we're kind of, they're like you said, they're giving us a lot of information regarding the storyline so far.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with my original thought. I don't think she's Abigail.
You know what? You know what I started thinking? Lord, please don't let this be another Chip moment.
Who? What?
Remember when Stephen O?
Oh, it's Chip.
Because of a chip, a microchip.
Yeah.
I doubt it. I guess in this story, and actually in several stories this week, I'm less interested in the definitive answer than the why. It's always the why that's kind of getting me.
Yeah.
Like, if she is Abigail, then we know why. We know the surface reason for why she would have been held hostage, basically. But there's always that underlying, like, why? Like, did he feel like he needed something in his back pocket? Is this all a trick? If she's not Abigail, it opens up a whole other Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Clyde's sneaky, but to my knowledge, he's never taken someone hostage for that period of time. So that constitutes it. That's not really a Clyde move. That was more of a Stefano signature move, a Kristen move. It's very Dimera. It's not very Clyde, which tells me there's a very big underlying why has yet to be determined.
Well, here's the other thing. How do we feel about the fact that they found John?
Another why? It was very out of left field.
Well, also something seems off.
Yeah.
Right? Like, does anyone else feel like,
I actually was more, not annoyed, but I was more confused why people weren't, I won't say connecting the dots because we don't know the story, but it seemed weird that they weren't like, I mean, as soon as I saw him there, I was like, oh, Clyde took him, right? Like that. Like, what other explanation would there be? It seemed like they were sitting there and they were like, how'd I get here? I was in Greece, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, Clyde, who you are an enemy of now, and you have been for so long, I'm guessing arranged to have you kidnapped. Like, I felt like it took them a while to get there. And then it wasn't until, who was it? Was it Steve or someone said like, oh, so-and-so's from here. And he was like putting it together. But I don't know. It seemed a little strange that people weren't making that connection.
I mean, John didn't initially know that he was in
Bluff. But I feel like once Chad and Jack told him the story, we're here because of Abigail. We know Clyde is something that, like, I felt like people weren't putting it together enough. I don't know. It didn't make much sense to me. I was like,
yeah, because it's
Clyde, yeah.
It's very out of left field. Greece to Missouri is not exactly a straight line.
No. Well, I mean, who's heading to Greece from Greece to Poplar Bluff.
Yeah.
But there was something okay, there was a lot. Walk with me here. Chad and Jack find John, who has no idea how he got there. The last thing he kind of remembers is being at Constantine's daughter's grave with a letter, and then the letter had blood on it. Then he just leaves Poplar Bluff, walks through the door of home as if nothing has happened. And Marlena's like, "Oh, you're home." And I'm like, there's something, it just seems weird. Like, you've been kidnapped. We don't know how long you've been gone. We don't know what actually happened to you. And you just hop on a plane in the same clothes and just walk through the door as if like, yep, was kidnapped again. Like, now Amaya Baker earlier, and I posted on here, she said this is basically the origin story of Rojan. But I don't know. Maybe like as in like Robo John, as in like the Pawn John, like maybe.
Yeah. Like she's talking about like way back in the day when Drake originated his run.
Or was she or did she mean AnnaLynne is the Rojan storyline?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Either way could work. There's so many questions.
I feel like we have to be like, we have Clyde, John, and this mystery woman. And Chad and Jack, who are trying to figure this out. Because I feel like this has to be connected in some way.
This is very much a math problem that is not solved for X. It's solved for X, Y, and Z.
I was actually getting more of Gina, Hope, Greta. That's what I was getting. More of that storyline, like an updated version of that storyline. That's what I was getting.
Oh, Amaya cleared it up. She said the girl will not be Abigail like John was not Roman, but thought he was.
Got it. That makes more sense.
John Del Rey said, "Do we need answers at this point? You know we're not gonna get them. You know we're not gonna get them. We're just laying down the groundwork. Here we go.
Do we need answers, John Del Rey? No. But do we need this many holes? I'm also thinking no.
Well, things are off to a good start. She's already agreed to go back to Salem with them, which I'm assuming their first stop will be to get some sort of like DNA done or test or something to see. So I mean, it's kind of moving. Again, we've been waiting for her since June, but considering her first day on the show, she's already heading back to Salem with them, and she seems to be on board to figuring out who she is, and she seems to trust Chad and Jack, and so I mean that part of it is moving along. Like we didn't get 2 weeks of them trying to convince her to come back to Salem and try and figure out who she is and what she's been doing, what she's eating, and all that kind of stuff. So
ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, she has to be living fine because that hair, lovely, the outfit, amazing, the skin, like she didn't look like how Sarah did when she thought she was Renee Dumont in that wig. So I don't know. Well, okay, I guess we'll see what'll happen. But welcome to Salem, AnnaLynne McCord. We're finally glad you have arrived. Oh, also, wait. I guess here we can also talk about Paul.
Yay!
And his concern for Brady.
Yeah, which he's not sharing with Marlena. He's not sharing. He's obviously not going to share with John because John just got finished getting kidnapped. He's not gonna. He's like, I can wait. I can wait to say this till later. But you know who he is sharing it with? His gorgeous boyfriend.
Which I'm glad they had a little scene.
Yeah.
Can we keep them? I adore them.
That was my thought too. I was like, why can't they just be on the canvas? Like,
I can only guess it's just that Christopher Sean is just so booked and busy because he's here, there, and everywhere doing everything. So
then let him pop in.
In that sense, it's like I will take any visit I can get.
But I'm just. I mean, even though when we saw them post making love, I had a lot of questions.
Specifically, what?
Oh gosh.
Nothing that I feel like I should say here.
Exactly.
But I think if anyone is familiar,
you having a Janet Jackson moment.
Oh my gosh.
How you gonna ask me a question like that? I mean, I'm just saying, if you're part of the community, you have the same questions.
I think we know, though.
Do we?
We know. I mean, Paul has. I think from his relationships in the past, I think we can tell. Yeah, I think we know. I feel like it hasn't been said he is or I am this, but I think we're supposed to infer from certain relationships he's had with people on the show of yes.
If you don't know, I'm not telling.
Yeah. I don't think we're far off in making an assumption there.
It's that moment where you're like, how do I take this show? Do I take it there or do I just leave it alone? Do I do a poll of...
I mean, we're not PG, but I'm not sure that we're like...
Not Mark's is going to close my eyes. Oh, God. You can't.
I am what? I don't... Wait, John Del Rey said what? I am what?
No, just... Oh, no.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, y'all know. There's only three letters to represent the three that it could be.
Oh my God. Okay. All right, bringing it back. All right. I adore Paul and Andrew. I will take them any time that I can get them, any time that they can come back to Salem. We adore them. We understand. I get it. You're booked and busy. You got your lives, but you know that we love you.
I think it's been interesting because I feel like we haven't been privy to the growth and development of their relationship, but automatically seeing them in the Salem Inn, you just got this sense of like, this relationship is so good and so solid and so fantastic that like I was like, I really do want to see more of it. Like I wish they were around more. Side note, I love our Dishin Days fans because most are like, tell us straight at Tony, or yes, we need a poll.
Need a poll on God.
I love it. And not Shonda saying needed to wax the top.
I know. I was like, wait, what? I don't even know what that means.
The hair on the chest.
Oh, I thought I was someplace else. I was like, is that a new euphemism for?
That's just hair.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're so bad.
Listen. Let's not spend 20 minutes on that moment, but the moment was lovely, and I love the fact that they sprayed them to make them look like they were sweaty. So they both put in work.
Yeah,
that's very telling.
Actually, a clip surfaced this week of that Christopher Sean is doing like all kinds of anime press here, there, and everywhere. And a clip showed up this week on his stories about how he was doing a panel and he was explaining how he couldn't get food with the rest of the people that he was working with and the voiceover with, because the next day he was going to be shooting that scene And he said, "Yeah, I have to be shirtless on camera. I'm sorry, I can't join you guys. I gotta make sure I bulk up for tomorrow." And everybody else in the cast who did not have to be shirtless was like, "Well, that's a problem we don't have."
Well, let me tell you, it was a glorious moment. We are so thankful.
Yeah. And it's like equality. It's nice to see them in that type of element. That's how they should look.
Yeah.
They should be in their underwear. We don't need them fully dressed sitting on a bed, like, 2 feet from each other talking. It's like they're realistic. They're in a committed relationship. They're partners. Like, it's morning.
Yeah.
Not me just figuring out the question that was posed earlier. I no longer have questions. I think I figured it out.
Oh my God.
I figured it out based on
Oh my God.
Now as I replay the scene back, I'm like, there was one move that's very like, yep, got it. Got it. I got it. All right, well, let's move on to our next storyline, which is Mr. and Mrs. Xander Kyriakis. I love that after all this, they just had a very simple wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I love this wedding. Yeah.
I love that she just came off of like a 24-hour shift and she's like, I want to get married. I don't care.
She's like, I'm going to get married today.
Enough of this back and forth, stalled weddings. Let's just do it and get married, right? Yeah.
I feel like Xander is actually very reluctant in like taking over the position of CEO at Titan. I feel like he's really like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I feel that bit of resistance. And like, I know that he's calling on his mom to like give like some sort of reassurance. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think it. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I think part of it is he's been burned so many times with this. Like he's either been the black sheep of the family, or when he has been given the opportunity and done well, which I'm glad people are referencing the fact that he was CEO and he was a good CEO. And then Philip came back and Victor screwed him over. And then, it sent him sort of on a downward spiral again. But I think part of it is that feeling like, okay, I've been screwed over with this. And part of it is his own sort of, I think, misgiving of like, is this really true? Is someone going to come along and take this from me if I get too settled in the money, the power? And, it's sort of like when you get maybe everything you want it in a weird way, it comes to you in a different way and you're a little scared of it or apprehensive of it. So,
yeah. Do you think that he should bring Alex back into the fold in some form?
I mean, Alex, to what I got from that conversation briefly, I don't think that Alex is completely out. I think that he's out of the CEO chair, and I think he's probably just going to go back to whatever position he had before.
Well, no, what's the name said to him? I'd love to have you stay on in a different role. And he said, no, thank you. I don't think that's the end of it, but I think as far as we know, Alex is left, but I do agree that he should come back and work in the family.
I think he just needs a few weeks away, give him some time to process and he'll be back.
Yeah.
Because he still, it changes nothing about his business, Stabby. He still has an eye for business, but in a supporting role, because he could not handle that type of power, which when ironically Xander, who everybody is worried about, big bad Xander's actually the one who has the history of steering the ship in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially with Maggie by his side, it would be honoring what Victor had intended as the first place, and which actually does make sense as Victor wrote it, because Victor knew that Xander and Maggie had a wonderful relationship. He knew that they would run the company as equals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm loving Fiona. I love the duplicity of her. She's sort of 50-50, where she's up to some little scheming here and there, but she's also, I think, definitely loves Xander and is interested in seeing him do well. I also think she's interested in him doing well, benefiting her in some way. We'll see. But I'm loving it. I'm loving the stuff with Brady. Even though even though he's off the wagon, and I guess she's technically off the wagon too, which isn't a good thing. But I'm liking the chemistry she's having with people.
There's something about her that I just don't trust.
Oh no, she's scheming, but yeah.
And that's the tough part about it, isn't it? Is because is that she's so good at saying the right thing. And it's not in a, oh, this is too good to be true kind of way. It's just like right on the money. She's saying everything the right way and not being too sugary, not giving too much detail. It's like spot on. It's like this is a woman who has been an experienced liar. She is an experienced schemer.
Yeah.
And so she knows just how to play it.
You can tell her plans actually work.
Yeah, right. I know. Right? I still think she's lying about the mental hospital thing.
I feel like most of the stuff that comes out of her mouth might be a lie, except maybe when she's talking to Xander.
Yeah.
And
but
even that some of that is kind of questionable.
Yeah.
Side note, I would like to point out that Mr. Paul Telfer himself gave me an 11 out of 10 for my impersonation of Xander. So I just want to make that known. I also want to make it known that I wasn't too far off with what he discovered. It wasn't socks, but it was knickers. So it was very, Mom, whose knickers are these?
Paul, you know that we're never going to hear the end of this, right?
I think my impersonation is it's a key element.
Never going to hear
about Xander. Just saying. Everyone's impressed with it. Nailed it. Or as Paul would say, no, I couldn't do it. All right, let's move on to the next storyline, shall we? Yes. Which is 6 months it is. This is with who we got here?
This is the Teresa sort of wrapping up everyone, but it's Teresa's storyline, but she's not in it. So it's it's how Teresa's sentence is affecting everyone else, it seems.
And we did get confirmation that this is the confirmation that Emily has wrapped her run as Teresa for now.
Yeah.
I mean, that Brady Tate scene was really good.
Oh my God, that was
really good.
It took me a while. I got so into it that it took me a minute to remember that Tate is totally BSing him.
Oh, 100%. Tate was so. First of all, let's go back. Why are you off the island? And why are you in Horton Town Square? And then, did you not hear when Brady was talking and that sounded like a familiar voice? Did you not when you're doing something you don't have no business doing, you got to be on alert.
I really thought we were going to see him lift up the hood and put on the glasses to give at least some appearance of a disguise. He literally was in the town square where
just
everyone
all willy-nilly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it
was hilarious because they kept saying, "Oh, he doesn't want to go out on the island just in case someone sees him." I'm like, you don't want to go out on the island, even though no one's on the island, but you don't.
But you gonna just go gallivant in Horton Town Square?
No, I'll tell you how this happened. It's this generation. That's how that happened.
Still, I mean,
you're all up in this, and you can lose all sense of spatial awareness.
No, it's just dumb.
That's what I just said.
Side note, I'm kind of glad that Holly laid into Sophia a little bit, because I think at this point we're all getting tired of Sophia.
Okay, on that note, I will retract. I'm going to retract what I said previously in a previous episode about how I thought Sophia would let this go.
No,
she should have let it go by now. Now we're getting into this is the beginnings of a villain story.
Girl, what are we doing?
Again, it's like, girl, it wasn't that bad. They made a mistake. They apologized. Move on. If you don't go and work your shift, And that's what she needs to do. She needs to go work her shift so she can get this off her mind. She needs to go do something productive. Every time she was, what about my tips? I'm like, tip this, like, go work. How about that? Let that be a tip.
I wish they'd throw in a little nuance with her where, like, even Holly's talking to her and maybe she, like, feels a little bit of guilt or something. Like, I don't know. It went just from, like, she's my best friend and blah, blah, blah. We've known each other for years to all out. I hate you. I'm going to scheme against you. There's no, like, gray area there for her, which I don't know. It doesn't, like we've talked before, like we want to ride with a villain when we feel like they have a reason or a justifiable reason, and it's just not working for this character. Even though I like the actress, I think the actress is good, but we need something else to either tie her to these two or to give her something to justify other than, she lost out on a date or her best friend lied to her for a small amount of time. Like, yeah.
Yeah, if we don't get a turnaround or something soon, I predict this is her villain origin story.
Well, it's not a very good one.
I know. It's not that great.
It's kind of like, girl, I'm over you. I really want Holly to be like, look, Ho, let me tell you something, okay? Say whatever you want to say, do whatever you want to do, but get out of my face and sit down.
Yep. On the flip side, it was nice that Tate, at least, even though we didn't get to see it, he got to see his mom before she left. Yeah. It seems like Andrew's plan to just have Teresa charged with Victoria's kidnapping
she only gets 6
went
months.
through. Yeah, so it seems like she's only going to be charged for that. And it seems, and so Alex, I guess, is justifiably angry about it because she did turn his world upside down.
Yeah.
So I feel sorry for him in that respect that, 6 months to him is pretty light considering how she turned his world topsy-turvy. But I'll be honest.
She just made him think somebody else was the daddy.
Yeah. But I'll be honest. He was just so insufferable throughout that whole period. I mean, just so insufferable.
He was a jackass.
Yes, and the fact that, and particularly the fact that how he treated Justin, and I guess Justin's gonna let him off the hook for that one. I'm not.
Well, it opens up now. We're getting a second. It looks like a second or third redo of Stephanie and Alex.
Oh Lord, have mercy. How many times
I like them together though? I will say, I think they're each other's best pairing.
Y'all know how I felt. That phone call shouldn't have broke them up, but
it's a good look. They have good chemistry. I'm not going to say that they don't, but I must stick to what I said since Stephanie's first been on the canvas. The girl needs to be single for a while.
Let her be her.
Her being her has clearly not led to very good romantic decisions. And when
she's out here living her best life, let her do that. She ain't got to be, a single, childless, catless woman.
Oh no, you didn't.
What?
Mr. Tony Moore.
That's what you're trying to put her as.
But Mr. Tony Moore, in this day and age, in this month of our Lord 2024, you are not gonna come for the childless cat ladies.
I'm not. They can enjoy themselves, but don't you try to turn Stephanie into one. Stephanie out here living her best life.
Stephanie could benefit.
She is a boss. She is doing what any man would do. Let her do that. If she wanna dip and dab and hoot and hop, let her do that. Don't put her in the house. Let her be outside.
You could still be technically single and dip and dab.
Let her dip and dab. If she wants to dip a toe into Alex grieving over Everett, let her do that.
I feel like it's a little course correction of like, oh, we maybe screwed up a little before. Let's put these two back together.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let her be outside, Araceli. She is a young woman. In her time, she will be like, you know what? I'm swearing off men. But during this time, let her be outside. Let her break plates and chit chat with Alex and
Oh well, I'm off for the breaking the plates.
Side note, I love how they tried to do it behind the couch.
I know, yeah.
To make us think that those plastic plates were actually breaking. I lived for the moment. I was like, listen, I'm gonna buy it. Y'all selling it, I'm gonna buy it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, conveniently standing 4 feet apart for the cushion to fit in between them that they dropping the plates on.
Opa! I also feel like Alex is in this like womp womp pours me, you know, kind of a moment. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, well, if you weren't such a jackass, like you wouldn't have such a fall from grace.
Mm-hmm. I will say that I did like his the scene with Brady. I thought that was kind of fun. That was a little bit of like he was still like they were still talking about Teresa and being like, oh, what she did to us, but it was more comical and a little bit more personality driven. So I did like that one. I felt like the stuff with Stephanie was definitely what was me, but I like the conversation he had with Brady.
Yeah,
at the bar.
Mm-hmm. And at least I guess he believes Brady isn't off the wagon, but
that was Tate and Holly, right?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Oh, and also side note, Holly, don't be trying to fool Maggie. Maggie has been around this for far too long. Maggie said, what does Sophia have to do with Tate? Explain that.
I honestly I love the Brady Tate conversation. I'm still on Tate's side with this. Now we're in a new era now. Nicole is gone. And we saw that right before she left, she was softening up to Holly dating Tate when he got back. Mm-hmm. Teresa is now gone. These two were the biggest proponents of that relationship. Like Brady was too, kind of, but I felt like he was more, he could have went either way. I think if Teresa wasn't so hell-bent on it, he would have been fine, I think, with Tate and Holly dating.
Oh, he straight out said it. He said that I would have been on your side, but I can't. I'm not going to go against your mother because as soon as we start, you start thinking that you can pit us against each other. That's when we lose.
It's like Brady doesn't care. Maggie does not give a shit about Tate and Holly dating. This is not something that concerns her. Like we're still going to keep this story. Like enough already.
I legitimately
2 17-year-olds.
Well, summer is now more than halfway over. So now I'm in a place of really wondering: are they really gonna get through the summer and have nobody know?
What about Aaron?
Yeah, because because think about it. Summer is almost more than halfway over. Mm-hmm. They've made it this far. So I'm legitimately wondering, are they going to really be able to keep this going till the end? They just might.
And Days fashion, I say something gets them caught at the last minute. Like he's coming home and something.
Yeah,
happens.
but then it's like, well, at the last minute, then by that point, it's done.
Yeah.
Listen,
it's been done.
Tate can be like, I'm done with lacrosse camp, and Aaron can still be up there living his life until it's something weird like Aaron broke his leg, and then they call Brady and go, "We have your son Tate," and he's like,
"Yeah."
Or it could, you know how Days is. Sometimes some storylines go, and then sometimes they just.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was that storyline. And just as a reminder, first of all, yes, we are still deep in our show. But we also want to remind you guys before we go into tidbits, make sure you follow us on social media. We're Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification. Find us on your favorite podcast stations. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And don't forget to show some love to our former co-host, James Lott Jr., on his YouTube channel, JLJ Media. And also keep sharing your thoughts and also Keep commenting below if you're watching later. And now we are into our tidbits with our first tidbit of Connie is losing control.
Okay, all right. Did anybody else see the cardboard cutout coming?
No.
I didn't see it coming, but she did give that line before she went to the bedroom. Like, she said something like, "We need to get ready for bed," or whatever she indicated.
You've been
made
on
me
your
think
feet all
he was
day.
sleeping with her. Yeah, but it made me indicate of like she was expecting him to come to the bedroom with her. However she said it, I forgot. Like, I forgot the wording or what.
Yeah,
she used.
I've been at work and you've been on your feet all day.
It wasn't let's go to bed, but it was like let's get this going, or let's get to it, or something. It was the way she phrased it. It was like, oh, she is actually sleeping with this imagination. Like, she, at least, who knows if if in her mind they're having sex, but she is sleeping with this, at least sleeping with this imagination.
Let me tell you this though, Connie is living the best life that anybody in Salem is living, delusional and all.
Not bad.
She got her man. She got a job. She's moving people out the way. Don't nobody suspect her of doing nothing. Connie is out here living her best life.
Oh,
if Let Me Slip Into Something More Comfortable was a meme, it would be Connie.
Mm-hmm.
Going in with a glass of wine, coming back out, having changed into her pajamas and collecting her man, and then retreating to her room for a little alone time. She better be careful though. You don't want those cuts, honey.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. That being said, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when
for what happened in the room.
No, would you let me finish the sentence?
I've been a
No. Gutter. No. When
is somebody gonna match her freak? Araceli trying to.
When Julie and Remington were filming those scenes because they were a hoot and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you wanted to be a fly on the wall for?
Yes.
Don't be mad because you wanted to be a fly on the wall with Cardboard Lee and Connie.
Gutter.
I'm not in the gutter.
Oh, get your mind out of there. No.
You took it there.
I did not. You interrupted my sentence.
We know what you were going to say, Miss Fly on the Wall.
Not.
Let me turn this into a poll.
Oh, no.
This you turned into a poll? Oh, my gosh.
I have to say this because I had this thought while watching. I really think Connie is the cleanup character.
Of the storyline, you mean?
Of many storylines.
Okay.
In the sense of having to pin Lee's death on someone.
Mm-hmm.
Now the telling of Ava and Stefan. Like, there's a lot of stuff where I'm just like, okay.
She killed Everett, Bobberette.
She's the
cleanup woman. Yeah,
she's a cleanup woman. It works.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you have to blame somebody, that's who to blame. She's just making it easy for the cleanup woman to get the Salem folks in order. That means she really cleans up. She's tough.
She's even cleaning up, or should I say exposing, the Ava and Stefan mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, again, didn't have to be a mess, but I feel like they've made it messier. And I don't say this often, I was very much on Kristen's side this whole week. Yeah. Because she's just sitting there like, okay, I'm just getting annoyed here with all of this back and forth, and you with your guilt that I feel none of, that I'm just getting annoyed at. Like, tell her or don't. But why do you keep going back and forth on this?
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like he should have just told her while she was in jail.
Yeah, that would have been better. Yeah. Which she couldn't get to him. She couldn't plot his murder.
Mm-hmm.
That way it would have been.
Yeah. And also just stop. I mean, everyone is losing like their poker faces every time now she comes in the room. Like, I know, like.
I mean, I
You might
guess
as well tell her I'm up to something. Like your face, your body language reads, I'm hiding something from you.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I appreciate the fact that Stefan is a character that actually has guilt about cheating on his wife, because we've known so many that don't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, oh my God, dude, make up your mind.
Just tell her. Write it in a note. Text it to her. Let her process it.
Just figure it out and stop talking in public places about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
everyone.
that's all they do.
Just stop.
Every secret is talked about out loud.
Ugh.
I did love Gabi and Johnny's little talk, reminiscing. Yeah. I thought that was kind of sweet.
Yeah, sometimes it seems like it came out of nowhere, but we do need those little reminders that Rafe was. Yeah, well, no, not just that, but that Rafe was Johnny's stepfather for the longest time when he was growing up.
Yeah.
So they've always had that relationship, and it's not going to change.
Wasn't there a small moment between Johnny and Gabi?
Yeah. I was going to say that too, where they were almost sort of paired together.
Yeah. But that was when Johnny was possessed.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet.
Gutter.
All right. So that was that tidbit. Now we're moving on to case closed. But is it? Is the case of Barbarette closed? Jada better keep using her spidey senses and know that this ain't it. Oh, thank you, Dylan Matthews. Y'all think Connie is under nasty with the cutout border?
Of course.
I do.
Of course.
Not you too, Dylan.
I think that saunter into the room said everything.
Lordy.
It's like back in the day. Remember when you had posters of your favorite or your like celebrity crush, and that's how you practice kissing? You would go up to the poster and be like,
"Yeah, I mean kissing."
Well,
it's a cardboard cutout, not a couch.
She's an adult. She's been a nasty girl, nasty. She's been a nasty girl, nasty. Is somebody gonna match her freakly? Is somebody gonna match her freakly? Is somebody gonna match her nasty?
Back to the storyline we were gonna talk about.
The case is not closed. I think Jada is really thinking to herself something isn't right. I love how she closed that folder and then was like, but I think she just needed Stephanie to sign her thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of feel it. Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like for the moment, it's probably just going to be put on the back burner until whatever, if Connie does something that, tips her off or something. I feel like in her mind, it's like, something's off here, but I'm going to move on from my advice from Paulina, which was nice. I like that their little chat too was nice.
Yeah. I just still think Jada won't be able to let it go. And she's going to be like, something just doesn't sit right. It's going to be on her mind.
Yeah.
She's got good instincts. And for once, I really like the Paulina and Jada interactions this week. I felt very much that energy between them of these two strong women being put in really high-ranking positions, and her telling her it was okay to feel. I don't think that people know how powerful a moment like that is when another high-ranking woman of color comes to you and tells you it's okay for you to have feelings about this.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing your job, you're doing everything right, but you're allowed to have feelings.
She is. Mm-hmm. Oh, not next time we see Lee's gonna be a blow though. I didn't say it. All right. And that's pretty much it with that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to our last tidbit, body and soul behind the
I'm living for Hattie. And Bonnie.
You what?
I'm living for the reunion of Hattie and Bonnie.
Yes.
Okay, listen. I love Body and Soul.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that Abe and Kate have the rights to it.
Mm-hmm.
But there comes a point where you're just like, huh?
See, I kind of like this because I think if they're gonna go with this storyline, they're bringing in the right people on the cast that makes sense for this. It makes sense for a character like Hattie. It makes sense for Bonnie to be into this. It makes sense for Leo. So I'm as kind of crazy as it is, or part of me is like, okay, where are they actually going with this storyline? Are we actually gonna have Body and Soul as a regular thing moving forward? So I don't know how long it's gonna last. We'll see, but I like who they're getting involved. It makes sense to me, at least.
I agree. I think there are times where I'm like, this is getting kooky.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, Leo as Lorna was very kooky, but the turnaround was pretty brilliant.
Well, I just feel like it should have been a writer thing from the start.
Well, yeah, it should have, yeah. And I did like that they mentioned Will, and then Abe was like, "We can afford him." I was like, "Okay,
we can afford him, not even on the grandma discount."
I know. Right? And they mentioned Beyond Salem, the Christmas thing.
Oh yeah,
with Leo throwing shade.
Or Bonnie being like that beautiful woman from that show, Our Home.
Oh yeah, we got an Our Home reference. Our House, yeah.
The whole this whole storyline, I could picture Michael Mattis pulling his hair out.
God, yes. Oh, he 100% is. But I would love to see this as a Beyond Salem Chapter 3, Body and Soul. Like even seeing the audition process, and again bringing people in from the NBC, Universal, Bravo, Peacock, like, you know what I mean, like as auditions and stuff like that. Oh, this would be so funny. I would buy it as that. I mean, it definitely had its like little kooky moments for me where but it was also just like a nice break from the regular stuff, and seeing these two novices like try to bring the show together. Although Kate isn't a novice. Remember, she did that morning show or that talk show when she tried to poison, sabotage Chloe. See, I do know something from the past.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is very interesting, and I love that it ended with basically Bonnie being like, "I too can be a soap star."
Yeah.
She's got the facial expressions for it.
She does. I was like, y'all better go out and get your roles, honey. Not mad at it at all. Listen, Body and Soul, I would watch.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I would. Johnny talking about he needs to watch some just to like, get the directing stuff down. But listen, I'm here for it. We'll just see what happens with it.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, over 2 hours later, we are still in our show. It is now time for our favorite part of the show, which are our segments. And we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. Oh, snap! Did y'all hear that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, listen, there are times where living in your own delusional world is better than reality. And with that comes whatever fantasies that you want to see happen. So my 3 Snaps Award goes to Connie and Cardboard Lee. Because guess what? A woman has needs, delusional or not. So Julie Dove, Remington Hoffman, Connie and Lee. You get Tony's official. Oh God. 3 Snaps Awards.
Oh, snap!
Listen, I don't mind. Sometimes living in your world is better than living in reality.
Mm.
So I live. Go ahead. Work them, Connie. And now it's time for
Those were the days.
All right, I'm taking you back to August 6, 2004, where Lucas proposed to Sammy at the Penthouse Grill. Remember that set? The Penthouse Grill?
Mhm.
Yeah, I love this one. I remember this one because this, out of the many proposals Lucas and Sammy have had over the years, this is the one where back in the day they used to have a budget, and this is when Lucas Brian Datillo sang "When a Man Loves a Woman" to Allison Sweeney's Sammy. I remember that scene vividly. But yeah, this is they've had so many after this. This falls. This is even before Johnny and Allie. This is, I think, 2 years before that proposal where they were engaged again. So yeah, this is sort of in the middle of their trajectory over the years. But yeah, I remember that one just being sort of a special one with everyone sort of having dinner at the same night and Lucas taking the opportunity to propose and sing and woo Sammy. So yeah, August 4th, 2004, where Lucas proposed to Sammy.
And that has been
Those were the days.
Didn't quite hear it on my end.
You did.
I hear it. Mhm.
I don't.
I don't either, to be honest. But I don't know what is happening. So we'll just keep going with It's a Gift.
And this week's It's a Gift also goes to my two favorites of the week, Miss Julie Dove and Mr. Remington Hoffman, for just having such a spot on timing with their movements.
It was cute.
Come on, you can't tell me that's not cute.
Yeah.
Listen, she is. Let me tell you, Connie is living her best life.
Yep.
She ain't going back and forth with you, bitches. She's living her best life. Delusional is it done it. I live.
They could have their own sitcom. They really could.
They could. All right, and that was. Hold on a minute. Ooh. It's a gift. And now it's time for news and gossip.
And we are starting with this soap news heard around the world that, yes, it is true. Sammy is back soon. Allison Sweeney has returned to set to begin shooting. And the actress gave us a little bit of tease of what we can expect in terms of storyline. Says, quote, "It was definitely an unexpected storyline that they pitched me." And then she said, out of all the ideas, I was pretty shocked by the one that they selected and the one that I guess she accepted. She's shooting now, which again, they're 8 months ahead. So we should expect to see Sammy in February or March, well into Days' 60th celebration. And just to clarify, because I think there may have been a little bit confusion about the storyline, this is the Ron scripts, or I presume the end of the Ron scripts. So yeah, this was spearheaded by Ron and his team while he was still at Days. So yeah, Allison Sweeney is coming back, and we will see her again February, March of 2025. We have no official word yet on if Lucas is coming back, but we do know that Mr. Brian Datillo is shooting a new Western. He shared on his Instagram a new look of a fitting for the new movie. We don't have a title or synopsis yet, but we will definitely keep you informed when the information dropped. But big congrats to both Allison Sweeney and Brian Datillo on, their new projects.
Can I just say this before we move on? So I woke up to that news of Allison Sweeney, and I felt some kind of way about it. I love Allison Sweeney, but I'm like, she's not coming back until 2025.
Yeah,
I would rather just be watching the show and the door opens and Sammy is there, or because now I feel like everyone is going to be figuring out how is she coming back, when is she coming back, and I feel like it loses the excitement of just seeing it happen without knowing that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to come across as like I'm not excited, but I am. I think it's just that like I didn't want to know.
You could hold it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think that we're probably past the days of getting a surprise like that. Unfortunately, I think we could possibly get a surprise like that of someone a minor character compared to Sammy, but I don't. I think this was always going to be publicized. What I agree with you with is that it shouldn't be publicized now. It should have been something that should have been publicized for like Day of Days, for instance, or like November sweeps or something for the fall preview. That should have been the big surprise of like Sammy's back or Sammy's coming back. But to tease it 8 months in advance is a little much.
Yeah, agreed. It could have been held. It's been done with other characters. You know, I mean, AnnaLynne McCord was announced way back. But I feel like that's different because now we're here and we're excited about it, and we still don't know who she's playing. And now, first weekend, I think we're all in based on what she's bringing to the table. But we know Sammy and we know Allison. So to kind of like tell us that she's coming, it's like, what? Just let her come.
Yeah.
Let it come.
I think it might be a thing of like maybe things are being leaked, but it's like y'all stop looking for spoilers because people are also like, oh, the show it's giving us something to look forward to, and I'm like, I don't know. Why don't you look forward to the preview?
Yeah,
because there's 8 months of work that actors have put in that you know you may feel some way about. Not everything is gonna be for everybody, but as a fan of the show, we have to stop being like, oh, this is dull. Give me something exciting. Oh, Allison Sweeney is coming back. Oh, I'm invested in the show again. It's like, no, stay invested into it now so that you can be excited when things do happen. Because if you're not watching, then you're gonna miss it. And you're not gonna know how we got there because you decided to cancel your Peacock or stop watching, or you can't relate to the show and boop bop dip bop bop. And you're gonna miss like, oh, well, when did this happen? Oh, well, if you were watching it, then you would have seen it.
And y'all, we made it through strike scripts. Come on.
We made it through the 2015 Blood Diamond storyline. We can make it. If we can make it there, we can make it anywhere. It's up to you, Days fans. Days fans.
Okay, that is what you have to do at Day of Days.
I was just thinking that. That's your opening number.
Can you
yes,
imagine?
Big opening number, big splash.
All right, sorry about that side note, but let's continue on with news and gossip, shall we?
Yes. Okay. If you've been paying attention to the Days Peacock channel on any of the socials, you know that Abigail Klein gave us a nice little tour of Stephanie's apartment. So we get an up close and personal tour. Stephanie moved back into her apartment this week across the hall from Alex. So we'll be spending a lot more time in that set. And we have reached the end of the Olympic themed episodes as the Olympics officially ended today. And so during the last video that is Olympic themed, that's on the Days socials, our Days cast answered the question, what do you at Days think should be a sport? So if you want to hear the answers from Leo, Cherie, Dan, Stacy, Carson, Paul, and Greg, go to the Days Peacock socials now. And we had a couple of birthdays this week. The one and only fabulous Louise Sorrell, as well as the beloved James Reynolds. I believe his birthday was yesterday. Yep. Yes. So happy belated birthday to James and Louise.
Yeah. And next up, we are taking another adventure actually, with Carson and Jelana and baby Ava as they head to the Lake of the Ozarks. the Boatmans have an updated video of their latest 4th of July vacation trip. Carson actually grew up going to the lake and has now incorporated his own sort of nuclear family into this tradition. So check out the Boatmans as they swim, jet ski, fish, and then just enjoy lake life in their latest vlog on their YouTube channel, the Boatman Family Adventure. So go check that one out. I think they just uploaded it Thursday or Friday, but yeah, go check it out. Always fun.
Yes. All right, now we move on to reminders, our weekly reminders of upcoming stuff. So, if you haven't heard, you should by now. Day of Days this year, November 2nd, 2024. I will be at Peacock Theater at LA Live here in LA. It's hosted by our very own Tony Moore. We will have updates for you as we get them, but we are here at Dishin Days have our own Day of Days guide provided to us by our very own Michael Manis. The link is currently posted on all of our Dishin Days social media platforms. So please, if you're going to buy tickets, if you need more information from past events, I'm sorry, that's right. You don't have to buy tickets. Yeah.
There's no tickets or reservation. You just
it's free. Up. No, yeah. But if you need to book, what I meant was like plane tickets. If you need like a plane, a bus, a train, whatever to get here, if you need to book any of that, please refer to our guide and we'll give you the lowdown, and just you have a couple of months to do your research. So now's the time.
It's in LA, but how will I get there?
And speaking of fan events, we have a few from Star Image Entertainments. We have, again, Remington Hoffman and Eric Mortzorf are doing a Zoom Q&A on Wednesday, August 21st. Then we have a newly announced one. This one is Wally Kurth and Judy Evans have their own Zoom Q&A. This one is Wednesday, September 8th. Then, of course, we have the in-person Hot Men of Days Nashville taking place the weekend of September 28th to 29th. Again, that Sunday morning, we have a special acoustic concert with Carson Boatman and Scott Reeves, and all tickets for information for the Q&As as well as the Hot Men of Days Nashville event can be found at eventbrite.ca/Star Image Entertainment. So go check that out.
Yes. And now, provided by Coastal Entertainment, we have an upcoming Zoom event with them scheduled for Sunday, September 2nd with Carson Boatman and Raven Bowens. If you want tickets to that Zoom event, you will go to coastalentertainment.com/events to join in.
And speaking of Carson, yet again, of course, he has the added show at the Bourbon Room, the night of Day of Days. Then he's also, the Day Players have also added a few new dates, a show in Atlanta, and then 2 new dates in Florida, specifically Naples and Tampa. Those ones are actually in November. So tickets and info, you can go to thedayplayersband.com.
And adding to the weekend of Day of Days chaos, the day before Day of Days, which would be Friday, November 1st, there will be an exclusive cocktail and dinner party hosted by the Ladies of Hollywood. And that'll be from 5:30 to 9:30. Tickets are exclusive and they're one night only. So if you would like more information, please email Lori Beth at lorimatrix@yahoo.com.
Yes, we have our Samantha and Friends events. We have our Golden Age of Hollywood. We've been telling you about weekend of September 14th to 15th of this year, 2024. Then we have a couple next year. We have the Winter Wonderland, that one weekend of May 3rd through 4th, 2025. And then a newly announced one that's sort of just getting off the ground. This one is a Haunted Mansion. This one takes place in September, weekend of September 13th to 14th of 2025 next year. And all tickets and info for all three you can find at samanthafriends.org.
And if you are in the state of Georgia, Camp Dream, which is an organization funded for kids with physical and developmental disabilities, I should say, have a fan event coming up in October, the weekend of October 5th and 6th of this year. That will be a fan event with Daze's Patricia Darbo and Greg Vaughn, as well as Mr. James Hyde and Courtney Hope from Young and the Restless. If you would like to participate in those events, go to campdreamga.org/events.
And last but not least, we have a new one just announced from our friends at Spectrum Celebrity Events. This one is a virtual fan event with Zach Tinker. It's hosted by our very own Mr. Tony Moore. This one is happening Saturday, September 7th, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. All tickets and info, you can go to SpectrumCelebrityEvents.com.
Perfect. Yay. And that has been Because My Fingers Are Tired. News and gossip. All right, and now it's time to find out what's coming up this week on Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Check it out.
I think we should have sex.
According to the DNA results.
Well, Chad, what does it say? You think she knows?
I just didn't feel right keeping a secret like this from you. I'm going to blow those two blind cheaters out of the water.
We should take this back to my place. There was no way I was going to let you drive home.
Oh, Lord.
Uh-oh.
Things are happening.
There's a lot that is going to happen this week.
Uh-oh.
Well, let us know your thoughts because we are so stunned that we have nothing to say. A lot that is going to happen. And guess what? We're going to be back here next week to cover it all and break it on down. That has been Dishin Days. 2 hours and 13 minutes of Dishin Days. Justin Lee Hareld, where can they find you?
Find my Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tia323 Araceli.
And show some love to Michael Mattis over at ML Mattis on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. And you can find us at Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Thank you guys for sticking with us this whole day. First of all, big shout out to Miss Cherie Jimenez for joining us today. That lovely, beautiful, talented woman graced us with her presence today. If you missed the interview, make sure you go back and check it out. And thank you guys for listening to all of our stunt shows and shenanigans about what happened this week in Salem. We will be back next week for another full dish of NBCs.
Peacock.
That's what happens when you've been.
It's been a long day.
Been a long day, but
we didn't freeze.
But a great day. We'll be back next week to give you a full dish of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Until then, everyone have a wonderful week. Enjoy yourselves, be kind to one another, and enjoy your wonderful Monday. That's happening tomorrow. And tune in every day this week to find out what is about to go down in Salem. And then come talk to us about it next Sunday. And on that note, bye, y'all.
Bye.